Hi, it's me again with CorelDraw tips and tricks. Somebody sent me this and wanted to recreate it like in a vector file in CorelDraw, and I've done this. And then I was actually in a hotel room and I didn't have access to a puzzle maker, or I couldn't find one. So I'm going to make a second part on how I made this puzzle a little differently than any puzzle I've ever made before. So we're going to take this. It's quite large, so I'm going to shrink it down. I always think it makes it easier for Corel to trace it. And we're basically going to get the shape of the apple and the leaf and the stem, I guess. So I'm going to set my nudge factor. This is only a little more than 2, so I'll set my nudge factor on 4. I am going to take this and go to Trace Bitmap, Outline Trace Clip Art. And most of you know that I use that about 95% of the time. And then I'm going to move the new one over. So I'm going to actually use the shape of this apple, even though it's a terrible representation, because it's so messed up. But we can take this and go to, well, you know what? We could probably do the whole thing, but I'm going to do it individually. I'm going to ungroup it. And then I'm going to take this shape and move it over. See, I've lost some of it, but that's almost to my advantage. And I am going to, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a duplicate of that and move it over so I can actually use those colors. I am going to left click, right click, and the stem or the branch type part is perfect. The leaf itself needs a little help, so we'll just delete that node. We'll delete that node. We'll delete these 2 nodes, and we got more of a perfect, there's a little something going on right here. You can always see it if 2 nodes are pretty close together. And I could actually delete those 2 nodes and almost got a perfect vector. So now I'm going to use the Smart Fill tool and get my eyedropper and take a sample of that color and put it in there. So I've got a good vector. I'm going to just move it out of the way so I don't have an outline. Same thing here. I'm going to take my Smart Fill tool, go down and get the eyedropper, get that color and put it there. I don't know if she wants to use the same color, but we're going to use the same color. So now I can actually probably group those together, Control G. Now, I could probably go on the internet and probably find, and I actually did when I did the first one, but I can use this apple right here. I'm going to make a rectangle. I'm going to take the Smart Fill tool. We'll actually use that same color, and I'm going to nudge that out of the way, and I'm going to fill that in with the Smart Fill tool. And then I'm going to left click, right click. And, apples aren't perfect. And normally I would put this in the center of the page. But if you have X7 or above, we're just going to take the smoothing tool. Let's make it a little bit bigger, like maybe 1 inch. And that might be a little bit big, but just click on your item and just smooth out this apple. So there we have the apple. Pretty good shape. And it's about the same size we wanted for our item. So what we can do now is put this up here. Let's go ahead and delete this. And we're going to expand it about the size of our original apple. Then, like I said earlier, I made a puzzle and I just colored it in with multiple colors. So I'm a little bit too big on my apple. I can either do a couple of things. I can expand this out. Don't ever expand it this way because you're stretching it. You actually could in this case because you're not going to be able to tell, but you want that puzzle to cover up the entire puzzle apple. Now I'm going to click on the apple part, and you can see down here, and it shouldn't be CMYK color because I'm using somebody else's file. But in this case, it doesn't really matter. I've got the black part selected. I'm going to go up to Effects and go to Lens Effects and go up here and go Fisheye and see what it did. And then I could change that to 75 or 200, depending on what look you want. That's too much. Maybe 75 is pretty good. And then go frozen. And now if you will nudge this out of the way, and then you can nudge this out of the way. And now I would take all this and right click and take away my outline. And there we have, and then group that together, Control G. And it really looks, well, I guess I got rid of my original bitmap. it looks pretty good. I mean, it looks like the apple is going around the puzzle. It's not perfect, these shapes, but it kind of deforms it a little bit, but you get the idea. Now, if you like that idea and you want to know how to make a puzzle relatively easy, watch part 2. Hope that helped. Thank you for watching.